every year for past couple of years, I've been focused on establishing what my vision is, my goal is for the upcoming year in advance. And part of that process was for 2 years, I was a part of this mastermind group called Abundant, and they had a massive impact on me and my perspective. But one of the special experiences that I had, we went out to an island called Dominica, and this was a 6-day retreat to focus on our goals for the year. So this was right before COVID had hit. Obviously, we didn't know what was going to transpire throughout the year. But one of the experiences that I had was with Mr. Tony Child, and he's going to be coming up in a second. And I just want to introduce him because he's had a massive impact on my journey. And what I believe is that life is full of these defining moments, these moments where you have these kind of ahas or these clicks in your mindset that allow you to focus on what matters and really to tap into your potential. And I had one of those moments in 2020, and it was such an impacting moment for me in helping me to elevate my business and my focus. And so I'm so excited to have Tony come up here. He has a really awesome story as far as his journey and what he's been on. But also I'm very excited about some of the principles that he's going to share with you today. A lot of them really go hand in hand with our 6 personal perspectives. And so it's going to be something that just really adds another layer of context to those principles. But without further ado, Tony Child.
Thank you. Microphone, can you guys hear me in the back? Yeah? All right, those on Zoom do need the microphone. I clicked on this. Do they need this? Nope, just that. Yep, it's on. Yeah. Want it right here? Like right here? Can you hear me now? Yeah? Okay. Awesome. All right. How many of you here want to 10 times what you are doing right now this year? Oh my heavens. Like, am I in the right room? How many of you desire this year to 10 times what you're doing? Yes? Okay. So that was the wrong word. How many of you want to 10 times what you are achieving without doing more? There you go, right? You can do 10 times more without doing more. You can achieve 10 times more without doing more. And today I'm going to share with you secrets on how to do that. Now, I was oblivious to this. I was completely oblivious that you can do 10 times more with less effort and make more money and do more things in life. I was completely oblivious to this. So my story begins when I was a banker. I was a banker for 15 years. We love our bankers, right? Wow, silence. So I was a banker for 15 years. I started out as a teller and I kept moving my way up through the banking industry. And I had come to a point when I was in the bank where I was over about 2,000 employees and their leadership development. And I would do all their leadership development plans. And I thought I had an incredible life. I had every holiday off, including Columbus Day. How many people get Columbus Day off? Yep, I got Columbus Day off. I had, several weeks of vacation every year. I made 6 figures. I golfed 3 times a week. It was an incredible life. I was making, low 6 figures. And I thought to myself, if I can just get by the end of my career to making $200,000 a year, I will have made it. At no point in time did the $1 million mark even enter my brain as a possibility. I believed that the most that I could do with my life was $200,000 a year. That's what I aspired to. And then one day, about 10 years ago, I was in a workshop similar to this. It was one of those pivot moments, one of those defining moments of my life. I was in a workshop, and the instructor at the front of the room said, if you change the way you see things, everything in your life will change. I laughed out loud. I thought that was the stupidest thing I'd ever heard in my life. I nudged my boss. I said, can I go? That is so stupid. Luckily, she said, if you want to be fired, you'll go. And I was like, all right, I need a job, so I'll stay. And the next 3 hours changed my life. Changed my life. Changed every single part of my life. Changed my career, changed my job, changed my income, changed the people I was associating with. Every single part of my life changed in that 3 hours, because over that 3 hours, I learned study after study after study from Harvard and Yale and Stanford and all of these universities about positive psychology. Positive psychology meaning if we change our state from negative or neutral to positive, amazing things start happening in our lives. I was oblivious to this whole field, this whole personal development thing. I was completely oblivious to it. Didn't even know it existed until that moment. And that is the moment that I started to make the greatest investment I would ever make, which is in me. The greatest investment you will ever make in your life is in you. Every penny you put into you, you will get thousands of dollars out for those pennies you put in. The greatest investment you will ever make in your life in time and in money is you. So ask yourself today, right now, how much time do I put into me, to developing me? And I'm grateful for Keller Williams. I'm grateful for Shoni, because you guys are taught to invest in you. So there's what's called a quantum leap. And I saw in one of your things that are going to be up here that you guys are going to go through a quantum leap strategy, right? Does anybody know what a quantum leap is? Big leap, right? Here's what a quantum leap is. A quantum leap, most people believe in academics and in business that I have to go from here to here to here to here to get to here. So I got to go from, if I want to go to F and I'm at A, I got to hit B, C, D, and E along the way to get to F. That I got to get all of these things in place, that I got to have all this education, I got to have all this experience if I want to get up to F. How many of you would just like to go from A to F and not have to go to B to C to D to E? You just go to A to F. See, but that's not the way we're taught. We're not taught that you can do this. We're not taught that you can go from A to F. So when I was in banking, I would try this out. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was trying it out. So I've interviewed hundreds of manager positions in the bank, hundreds of manager positions. And every single manager position that I would interview for or that I would hire for, on the application, it would state that they had to have 10 years of education, 10 years of experience, and they had to have a bachelor's degree. And then my recruiter would call me and she would ask me right before she would set up my interviews, Tony, do you want me to sift through your applications? What she was saying is, do you want me to sift out all of those that don't have the requirements of 10 years banking experience and a bachelor's degree? What was my answer? No, I didn't. And every other manager in the bank thought that I was completely insane because I was going to interview all of them. They're like, why would you waste your time? And here's what I found. Do you want to know who my best managers were? My very best. I led the bank in sales and every position that I was in. I led the bank. Why? Because I hired managers that wanted to make quantum leaps in their life. I hired managers that would actually apply for the job knowing that they didn't have the experience or education. And they said, to hell with it. I'll apply anyway because I'm worth it. And those people, when they would come in and they would interview, how were their interviews? What do you think? Oh, they were insanely good. Their confidence through the roof. I can teach banking. I can give you the education, but I couldn't teach some of these qualities that these people had. At least that's what I thought until that day, 10 years ago, when I saw that you can teach this. You can teach this personality. You can teach these characteristics of how to make quantum leaps in life because I've learned it. Fast forward a couple years later after that workshop, I changed my degrees. I didn't even have a degree. Think about that. I was interviewing people that were requiring degrees, and the position I was in, I didn't even have a degree. But I was one of those people that said, to hell with it, I'm going to apply anyway. And I kept applying and I kept applying and I kept moving up and up and up without a degree and with very minimal banking experience because I had something different. I didn't know what it was. So I was getting my degrees in finance and in business. And I said, to heck with that. I'm going to get my degrees now in communication and positive psychology. I was 2 semesters from graduating, 2, and I bagged it all. And I started my journey in positive psychology and in communications, where now I speak all over the world. I'm on stages every single week, all across the globe. And 2 years after that defining moment of sitting in that workshop, I met a man named Bob Proctor. Does anybody know who Bob Proctor is? I met a man named Bob Proctor. I paid $15,000 to spend a week with him. Think about that, $15,000 to spend a week with him up in Toronto, Canada. Spent my week with him. At the end of my week with him, he asked me to go to lunch with him. It's like, you realize like there's millionaires in this room and I'm not even close to these guys. And he's like, no, I want to go to lunch with you. Okay, let's go to lunch. So it's Thursday afternoon. I run to the back of the room. He's on stage. He's teaching on stage. There's 120 people like me that have all paid $15,000 to be in that room. He quits his speech. He comes to the back of the room. He grabs me. We go up to lunch. We're sitting down. And we start talking about dreams and about what I'm worth and about what I can do with my life. And he asked me a question. And I want to ask you the same question that he asked me that day. He said, Tony, do you want to make your annual income your monthly income? Now I'm going to ask you the same question. Do you want to make your annual income your monthly income? By raise of hand, who would want to make their annual income their monthly income? I said, yes. Obviously, right? Yes, I want to make my annual income my monthly income, but I had no freaking clue how to make my annual income my monthly income. No idea. But my answer was yes. I said, can I teach you how? I was like, sure. What are you going to teach me? Like to go to a different career, to do something different? He's like, no. I don't care how the money comes in. I'm going to teach you how to think like the person that makes their annual income in a month. And that discussion, that moment, that decision that I made that day to say, okay, I'm going to do this. 1 year ago, so this was 4 years after that conversation, 1 year ago, I made my annual income in my month. And I've done it every month since. Now, it took me a while. It took me some time to get it. But that thought didn't even cross my brain as I was sitting in the bank. As I was sitting in the bank, it's like $200,000. That would be fantastic to earn in my life. Like the thought of earning $1 million in 1 year didn't even enter the realm of possibility. But yet these moments, these defining moments can change us. You have defining moments as real estate agents all the time. And right now, there's what's called inside out versus outside in. Do you know what I'm talking about when I say outside in versus inside out? Most people work from the outside in. Let me tell you how this works. You have 5 senses. What you see, hear, smell, taste, and touch, right? Most people will allow what they see and what they hear in particular to dictate what they believe. And therefore, what they believe becomes their reality. So there are a lot of people that when they hear the news of interest rates going up, or of housing going up, or housing going down, or whatever it is, it controls their belief of what's possible. And therefore, guess what happens? They go exactly the realm of what everyone else thinks about the marketplace. But when you understand that you have direct control over your results and your income, it doesn't matter what the marketplace is doing. Do you know that there were many, many millionaires that were created during the Great Depression? Did you guys know that? Why? What happened? So here's some statistics I want you to write down. If you got a piece of paper, write these statistics down. I think that you'll find them fascinating, at least I have. It's according to the previous census data that was just released. This is census data. And I want you to put 9%. 9% on your piece of paper. And that is the amount of the population in the United States of America that makes $100,000 or more. 9%. Meaning 91% of households in the United States of America do not make $100,000 a year. 9% do. So if you are in the low 6 figures, you have made it to an elite 9% club. Okay? Now, here's a staggering statistic. Let's call that number 100,000. Probably much more than that, but let's call that number 100,000. There's 100,000 people, that 9%, that are making $100,000, low six-figure income. How many of those 100,000 people, that 9%, jump to mid six-figure income? What are your thoughts? What percentage, now we're just going to the percentage of the 100,000 people that have made it to the 100,000 club, what percentage of them make it to the 500,000 club? Huh? Of that, 10%. Meaning 90% of those that make it to the six-figure stay at the six-figure. For the rest of their life, they stay at the six-figure. 10% of those that make to the six-figure say, I want more. And they make it to the 500,000. Now, of those that make it to the 500,000, the 10,000 that just made it to the 500,000, how many of those make it to seven figures or higher? What percent? What do you think? 20%, 10%, 7%, 5%, 80. 80% of those that make it to the 500,000 make it to the million and higher. 8,000 of the 10,000 people that make it to the low or the mid six-figure make it to seven-figure or higher. What changes? It's not all of the things that we've been taught. It's not how hard they work. It's not their education level. It's not their experience level. It is they literally rewired themselves to make that. So I liken this to golf. Any golf fans in the room? Got a few golfers in the room, okay? Does anyone know what a handicap in golf is? A handicap in golf. What's a handicap? Briefly, a handicap in golf is not a handicap in life, okay? How many extra strokes you get? So on average, it takes 72 strokes to play 18 holes. That's on average. That's a golf course. You go to any golf course, they say, hey, it should take you 72 strokes to get the little ball in the hole during 18 times. That's the average of what it should take you for this course. Your handicap is how many above average it actually takes you. This is layman terms. There's a lot more that goes into it, but it's layman terms. Like, so if I'm a 10 handicap, that means on average, I shoot what? 82, okay? If I'm an 18 handicap, that means on average, I shoot what? 90, okay? Do you guys get it? So here's what happens. You have golfers that work their whole life. They go to the driving range. They work their tail off. They work so hard to get their golf game so good. And they get down to a 6 handicap. Does anybody know what a 6, what they're shooting on average now? 78. They're shooting on average 78. Of those, when you get to a 6 handicap, that puts you in the top 10% of golfers in the world. You get down to a 6 handicap, puts you in the top 10%. Of those that get to 6 handicap, how many get to a 0? Meaning they on average shoot par every single time. Nope, 10%. That means that 90% of golfers, when they get to the 6 handicap, they stay there the rest of their golfing career. And they go to the range every day. And they golf every day, but yet they stay the same. Why? Why? I'm curious what y'all think.
Our friends of pros that are winning millions change their stroke. And I'm like, how can you change your stroke? You're one of the best in the world.
Yep.
They change the way they stroke the ball, the way they putt.
So here's what happens. At 6 handicap, the person that's making that the swing that got that person to a 6 handicap is not the swing that will get them to a 0. So they have to hire somebody. They have to hire somebody that will deconstruct their swing and say, I'm going to make it better so we can get you to a 0. But what happens in the deconstruction of their swing? They get worse. They have no friends, right? They get worse. They go downhill. And so guess what the thought pattern is in their head? I'm good. I'm satisfied. I'm not trying to be a professional golfer. I'm a recreational golfer. So I'm going to just stay at my 6 handicap. I'm just going to stay there the rest of my life. And so they settle. They settle. So now let's go back to our income. Why do people stay at $100,000? Why? It's the 2 words that will destroy your life. Nope. Good enough. Good enough. Those 2 words will destroy your life. Those 2 words will keep you stuck. Those 2 words will keep you right where you are. I am good enough. What I have done is good enough. If you're in good enough, you will stay right where you are. Because guess what? If you're making 6 figures, are you good enough? I'm better than 91% of the public out there. And that's the way most people think. I'm better than 91%, so why would I rock the bar? Why would I rock this court? Why would I go to the $500,000? But guess what is required to take you to the $500,000? The reconstruction of your swing. Most people won't do it. What's the swing? This. It's the reconstruction of what you think. Most people won't do it. Like, no, I'm not going to change that. I'm good enough. Right where I'm at is good enough. And therefore, you'll stay stuck. So today, my invitation for the next few minutes that we have together, we have 30 minutes together, is to just think a little bit different. Have this be a pivot point of your life where you can say, you know what? No, I don't want to be good enough. I want to be better. I want to be the best version of me I possibly can be. Who wants to be the best version of themselves that they can possibly be? When do you want to be the best version of yourself that you possibly be? When, like tomorrow, next year, next month, decade? When? My hope is right now, right? But how many of us put off the things till tomorrow or next year? Timing's not right. Let me do that later. We have all these desires, but then we have these fears and we have these paradigms that kick in. Okay? So I'm going to share with you 3 things today, 3 things that will change your life. And if you do them, you will massively change everything in your life. Number 1, the number 1 thing that you must have in your life is intentionality. Most people live an accidental life. Most people tiptoe through life hoping to make it safely to death. Right? You guys laugh, but isn't that the truth? Most people tiptoe through life hoping to make it safely to death. I don't want to take any risks. I don't want to do anything that's going to rock the boat. I just want to get to my death. They exist. They don't live. You have creativity pulsating through you. What separates you from your dog and your cat? What separates you from the animals of the earth and the trees and the grass? What separates you, human beings, from everything on this planet? You get to create life. Everything else outside has to adapt to life. I walk up in the mountains and I go up there and I look at the deer and the birds and the trees, and they just adapt to their environment. And then I come down out of the mountains and I'm in the valleys now, and I look at every human being and they'd rather be everyone else but their environment. They complain about their environment. And my question is, why? What's the difference? Here's the difference. People don't know that they're creating their environment every day. They have no intentionality. So they allow what they hear, what they see, they allow the culture to control their decisions, and they allow this to just create this existing accidental life. So today I want you to make a commitment. You're going to start living an intentional life if you haven't already. And I know that I'm in a room of incredible high producers that live intentionally. Now, what does it mean to live intentionally? Have vision for your life. Go after the impossible. Put the 0 at the end of your number this year and say, I'm going to get that number. And your brain will push back. Your brain will say, no way, you can't do that. You don't know. What's the word? How to do that. And we connect our abilities, our God-given abilities with our know-how. And we connect those and we say, I don't know how, therefore what? I Can't. Instead of saying, I don't know how, but I know I can, I'll figure it out. We put it out there. Have intentionality. I've never met a person that hikes to the top of Mount Timpanogos and wonders how they got there. Never met a person that gets to the top of Mount Timpanogos is like, how did I get here? I have no clue. Have you ever met a person that gets to the top of mountains and like wonders how they got there? But has anybody read, it's called Autobiography in 5 Chapters. Here's Autobiography in 5 Chapters by Portia Nelson. I walk down the street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I'm lost. I'm helpless. It isn't my fault. It takes me ever to find a way out. Chapter number 2. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend that I don't see it. I fall in again. I can't believe I'm in the same place, but it isn't my fault. It takes me a long time to get out. Chapter 3. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see that it's there. I still fall in. It's now a habit. My eyes are open. I know where I am. It is my fault. I get out immediately. Chapter number 4. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it. Chapter 5. I walk down a different street. These are the people I meet, though. Chapters 1 and 2. The people that go into their holes and they just are in their holes of life and they're just there and they don't know why they're there and they keep blaming it on everyone else and it's everyone else's fault. It's the government's fault. It's the interest rate's fault. It's this fault. It's that fault. And they don't know why they're in their holes. And all it takes is for a decision to get out, to walk down different streets, to be intentional with your life, to be intentional with your business. Every day you should have vision for your life, vision for your business. When you wake up, it's like, what am I going to go accomplish today? What's the vision of today? If I were going to bed tonight, what would I be writing in my journal? I vision create every day. I journal every day, but I don't journal like most people. I figure out 3 of my things that I'm going to do for the day, and then I write in my journal at the beginning of the day as if it's the end of the day, and I just accomplished the 3 things that I said I was going to accomplish. What it will feel like, what it will be like, what are the nods of the heads. When I journaled this morning, guess what I journaled about? This meeting. How amazing it was. The energy of this room, how on fire it was. That's what I journaled about this morning. Guess what's happening? The energy of this room is palpable. It's great. It's awesome. You guys are doing incredible things. But how much vision do you have for your life? Now, how many of you have been in personal development before? Done a program or 2, read a book or 2, attended a workshop or 2. Okay. So I've done this over a decade now, spent over $500,000 in personal development. And here's what I found. It doesn't work for 85% of the public. It just doesn't work. They do all the stuff. They read all the books. They go to all the seminars. They do all the things that they're told by their mentors and their coaches, and it doesn't work. They stay in the same spot. And I was perplexed by this. I would go to Bob Proctor so I ended up being on his team. I ended up being his #1 coach in the world. I would travel to Toronto. I'd go up and I'd train all of his coaches. And as I would go up to Toronto, I was at tables where people had all paid $15,000 to be there. Bob Proctor would be sitting up on stage and he'd be yelling like, you got to have intention for your life. You got to know what you want. You got to have vision. And of the 8 people that are sitting at my table, 7 of them are looking at Bob with like a deer in the headlights look. Like, what are you talking about? Just this glazed over look. One of the 7 has his notebook out and is furiously writing down all of the ideas that are coming and everything that he wants. And as I walked out of that room and I would ask people, what do you want? What was the #1 response I got? I don't know. I don't know what I want because I've been told what I should want my whole life. I've been told by my parents what I should want. I've been told by my coaches what I should want. I've been told by my spouse and my children what I should want, but I've never really answered the question for me, what do I want with my life? What do I want to do with it? So I ask you that question, what do you want? And most will answer the same way. I don't know what I want. And this perplexed me. This perplexed me so bad that I was like trying to figure out like, what do I need to teach people? So this next little portion of this presentation here that I'm going to share is one that I shared up in Dominica with my good friend Shoni here. And this little 5 minutes here could change your life if you just learn this one thing. And it will teach you why personal development works for some people and it doesn't work for others. You guys ready for it? Okay, so I'm going to like push this up a little bit so my people on Zoom can see this. So with a piece of paper, I'm going to teach you Psychology 101. So everyone draw a cloud on a piece of paper. If you got a piece of paper there, draw a cloud. Below your cloud, I want you to draw a heart. And below your heart, I want you to just draw a little rectangle there, okay? If you got a piece of paper and you're drawing that out, draw a heart, draw a little cloud. You got your little rectangle here, okay? And then you're going to put 2 little arms and 2 little legs on there, and that's you. This is Psychology 101. What you think causes what? How you feel. And how you feel causes an energy in your body with which you act. An energy in your body with which you act. This is Psychology 101. Energy, emotion, if you just go to the word emotion and you take it down, it's energy in motion, emotion. You are creating energy all the time. In fact, scientists can go and they can now take photos of you. Simeon Curley did this. He was able to take photos and actually see the energy emitting off of bodies. How many of you have walked into a room and wanted to walk right back out because you could just feel the energy was like, oh, I don't know what I just stepped into. How many has that happened to you? You didn't hear a thing, you didn't notice, but you just walked in the room and you want to walk right back out. Has anybody noticed that? How many of you have walked past the room and you're like, did a double take? It's like, whoa, what's going on in there? I want to be in that room. You didn't know what was going on, but you felt the energy. How many of you felt that before? It's very, very real. Okay, so what I think causes how I feel. How I feel causes an energy with which I act. Here's the secret. Albert Einstein said this. The greatest decision you will ever make in your life is whether you believe you live in a hostile or a friendly universe. That's it. The greatest decision you will ever make in your life is whether you live in a hostile or a friendly universe. If I lived in a hostile universe, what thoughts go through my brain if I believe I live in a hostile universe? People are out to get me, okay? So we call those doubts. And the word that I would put right below that is we use one of our imagination, our creative gift to create WCS, case scenarios. Okay? So I have stuff happening. I have a pandemic happening. I have interest rates going down. I have all this stuff happening. If I believe I live in a hostile universe, the things I will think about are all the business I'm going to lose, then my house is going to go foreclosed on, then I'm not going to be able to pay my bills. And guess what feeling that creates in my heart? Okay, despair and a big old F word. Fear. That F word, right? So fear is what that creates. Now, if I go around taking the fear, taking it on, taking all the worry on, taking all this fear on, what does that do to my body? What energy does that create in my body? Okay, here's what it creates. Anxiety. Anxiety. Now, do people go around expressing their anxiety, how anxious they are, or do they suppress it? They suppress it, and they suppress it, and they suppress it, and they suppress it. And the suppression of anxiety turns into depression, disease, diseased, and decay. The 3 Ds of death. Depression, disease, and decay. Do you want to know what the number one problem in corporate America today is? Number one problem. Depression. Number one problem in corporate America, it's an $8 billion problem. Depression. And how is it caused? By this. Now, if I believe I live in a friendly universe, when stuff's happening around me, what thoughts go through my head? Where on this side it's doubts, what is over here? Okay, we call that confidence. What would happen in your business if you were 10% more confident? Just think about it. What would happen in your life? What would happen in your marriage? What would happen with your kids if you were 20% more confident? 100% more confident? What would happen? Confidence is when you can create in your brain best case scenarios. It's when you're thinking about all the worst things that can happen and you are able to flip it in your brain and say, okay, yeah, that's the worst thing, but what's the best things that can happen? And when you can learn to do that in any situation, your whole life will change. Your whole life will change. What feeling does confidence create? Empowerment. I'm gonna do this feeling because this is the most powerful feeling you can create. Love. Confidence creates love. And love is put through the body as excitement and engagement. You're excited and you're engaged. Now, do people go around suppressing their excitement or expressing their excitement? They express it. And the more you express excitement, it turns into momentum, wellness, and growth. The three most important you can ever want as a business owner of your own business. As real estate agent owners of your business, of your clientele, these are the three most important words you can possibly have in your business. Have I caught the wave momentum? Am I well and am I whole and am I growing? Is my portfolio growing? Is my clients growing? Are we growing? True? True? Yeah? Okay. Now here's my reveal. You guys want the reveal? What percentage of the population, this is according to data from, who wrote the book? Gallup. This is Gallup data. They're the biggest data conglomerate in the world. This is data that they've done. Millions and millions of businesses, millions and millions of people have they put through this data point. What percentage of the population lives or frequently visits this side? You nailed it. Whoops, that doesn't work. Go back to my black. 85%. 85%. What percentage of the population lives or frequently visits this side for my mathematicians? 15%. So when I sat at those tables and I was looking at the tables and 8 people were at the table and 7 of them were looking at me with a deer in the headlights look, guess where they were? Right here. But they were in the room. They had paid $15,000 to be in the room to learn this stuff, and yet they were still right here. Wasn't working for them. Why? Here's 2 words. This is the shift. This is the second key. First key is be intentional. 2 is experience what I call the shift. And the shift is experienced when you can learn to go from this side to this side, which is lack, to abundance. Lack to abundance. So if in the last week you've had these thoughts run through your head, it's probably a good indicator you might be on the left side. Man, if there was just more leads, if I just had more leads, I'd be able to produce more. I don't have enough leads. Man, if I just had more money, we'd be able to afford that big boat or that vacation. If I just had more money in my bank account, I don't have enough money in my bank account. If I just had more time, like a chicken with its head cut off. If I just had more hours in the day, I'd be able to get everything done that I need to get done, but I don't have enough time. There's not enough time. There's not enough hours in the day. If there was enough love on this planet, man, we would have so much more. There's just not enough love. There's so much anger and hate. If you've had these thoughts in the last week, pretty good sign that you're over here. But here's the crazy thing. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It wasn't my fault. I was stuck here for 35 years. But it wasn't my fault. Why wasn't it my fault? Because I just wasn't taught these things. I wasn't taught how to shift it. I wasn't taught how to move it. So here's an experience I want to give you. Can I give you an experience here in 5 minutes? So here's what I found that will shift this faster than anything else. It's the number one thing I teach out of 12 principles. It's the number one principle that I teach. So here's how you shift it. I'm going to give you an experience of it. So when I left that seminar with Bob Proctor, and I said, man, I don't know what to do. As a man of faith, I knelt down and I asked God, what do I teach people? What do I teach people? I don't know what to teach them. How do I shift a person stuck here over to here? And the answer was so clear that it jolted me and it made me laugh, chuckle a little bit because it was so stupid and clear. It was teach people how to be grateful. Teach people how to be grateful. I laughed out loud. I said, well, I'm grateful. And God said, no, you're not. You're not grateful because you're over here. If you were grateful, you'd be over here all the time because you only see a friendly universe. That's all you'd see. You're not grateful. It's like, so here was my next question. Then what does it mean to be grateful? Not just practice gratitude. What does it mean to be grateful? So here's my experience that I want to give you. I want you to pull out your phone or a blank sheet of paper, and I want you to write. Go to your notes section on your phone. If you got your phone, go to your notes section on your phone. Get out a piece of paper, a blank sheet of paper, and I want you to write someone's name who's alive at the top of the paper that has had a meaningful difference, a positive, meaningful difference in your life. Could be a spouse, could be a parent, could be a friend, could be a long-lost uncle, doesn't matter. Write their name. Something that's had a positive, meaningful impact on your life. And what is it about them? So I want you to write down now in the next 2 minutes, just write in your notes section or write on a piece of paper. What is it about them that makes it so special for you, that they've created such meaningful impact in your life? Is it their smile, their laugh, their giveness? What is it? So I want you to write that down or put it in your phone. Just 2 or 3 bullet points. Doesn't take a lot. Once you've written down 2 or 3 bullet points, just look up here so I know that you've written it down. What do you love most about them? Now here's actual data. Actual data shows that when you just do this exercise for 2 minutes every day, your happiness will increase between 2 and 4%. How many of you, when you started thinking about things about this other person that you were grateful for, you felt your happiness increase? You had a smile crest across your face. You felt a little bit different. How many of you felt that in your body tangibly? You felt happier. Okay, so how many of you want to take it up another level? See, because this is what most people do. They just like, 2 to 4%, I'm good. What if we took it between 4 and 19%, which is a higher level of gratitude? So here's the higher level of gratitude. Research shows that when you can take it up another notch, it's called what I call feeling appreciation. When you get into just not the thinking it, but now you're going to get into a feeling of it. It's when you express it. So here's what I want you to do. If you wrote it on a piece of paper, I want you to take a picture of the piece of paper and I want you to attach it to a text message or a direct message in Instagram or a direct message in Facebook. And you're going to now message that person, copy and paste from your notes. If you want to do it from your notes that you just took, you're going to say this in your text. Hi, whoever name you put down. I was thinking about you this morning. And I don't think I tell you enough how grateful I am for you in my life. Here's what I was thinking about. Copy, paste, attach the note, send. Hi, whoever. Get out your phones. You're going to do this right now. Hi, whoever. Text message, direct message, Instagram, Facebook, doesn't matter, however you communicate with them. Hi, their name. I was thinking about you this morning, and I don't think I tell you enough how grateful I am to have you in my life. Here's what I was thinking about. Copy and paste, hit send. Hi, so-and-so. I was thinking about you today. And I don't think I tell you enough how grateful I am for you to have you in my life. Here's what I was thinking about. Copy, paste, send. Once you've hit send, look up here. Give you a couple more seconds. Now, how many of you, the moment that you hit send, you felt that rush of exhilaration, or maybe you felt it when I said you're going to hit send, like you felt, it was like, whoo, like you felt it. You felt the happiness, you felt the rush of energy rush through your body. How many of you felt that the moment you hit send? That is a higher level of gratitude. Just thinking it, yeah, it's cool. But sharing it is when you know that people know how grateful you are. Your voice matters. The highest level of gratitude. The highest level is when you're generous, when your actions match, that you believe that you have enough in your life, that you have more than enough time, that you can be present with the person that's in front of you, that you have more than enough money, that you can pay for the Starbucks coffee behind you, that you have more than enough love, that you can forgive people that you've held grudges for. That you know, as you look in the mirror, that you are enough. You are enough. If there's any message I can give you today, it's this. It's that you are enough. You don't have to do anything different. You don't have to be anything different. You just have to remember who you already are. If you think back to when you were a child, when you were 3 or 4 or 5 years old, they were totally forgiving, completely present, rambunctious. They were loud. They held their voice. They were believing and faithful and forgiving. And yet somehow along the way, they lost that because they decided to speak up in the car and tell grandma that her nose was too big. And mom was sitting in the car and told the child, we don't say that. We don't say that grandma's nose is too big. But guess what? Grandma's nose is huge. But we're taught at a young age to not say the truth, to not tell people what we think. We've been conditioned with certain things in our lives that will hold us hostage. If you've had a thought that you have to work hard for money, that's bogus. But if you were this big and you went to your mom and your dad and you said, hey, can I have this? Guess what they said to you? You got to work hard for that. You got to go work hard for that money. Or you go to your mom and your dad and you say, hey, can I have this? And then they say it's about money. He doesn't what? Grow on trees. Meaning it's hard to come by money. So you started to develop these beliefs about money that is hard to come by. Or maybe the kicker of them all, you were taught that money is the root of all what? Evil. Yes. It is the root of all awesome in my life. Right? But if I hold these beliefs, I can want to put the 0 on my number all that I want. I can want to do that. I can say, I'm going to put 100 on my number. I'm going to do 100 times more. But if my belief inside is that money is evil or hard, or it doesn't grow on trees and you have to work hard for it, then that is what will control my life. When you change the way you see things, the things you see will dramatically change. And number 3, change the way you see things. And there's a process to doing that. There's a process, it's a scientific process of how do I change the way I see things. There's a line upon line process to doing it. Now I don't have nearly enough time. I've got 1 minute left. I don't have nearly enough time to teach you about the process, but we do teach the process. I usually would do it over a 2-day webinar that people would come to from all over the world. We're doing a 2-day, our first one, in Provo at the Riverside Country Club next month, 28th and 29th. We're doing a 2-day workshop. where I'm going to go through the full process. The full process of how does a person really get to where they want to go. Now, normally we go into groups and I've got a little sheet that we'll hand out here. So normally go into groups and it's $997 to come to this 2-day workshop that we run. But because I know Shoni, because I trust Shoni, it's $24,000 to come to the 2-day workshop. Just kidding. It's 99%. Go ahead and hand out the sheets there if you can. But on your sheet of paper, it does say $997. If you cross it off and put $247, that is your price to come to our workshop because of my relationship with Shoni and the fact that I love him so much that he's allowed me to come here. If you've enjoyed what you heard, if you feel like the science is something that you'd like to dive into, it is all science to teach. All my degrees are in this. I love this. It is my life mission to get people to achieve 10 times, 100 times, 1,000,000 times more than they are right now. And it all starts with, how do I see things? How do I see things? So if this is you, just go ahead, fill out the form, hand it in to either myself or Sylvia. We'll be here during lunch. Thank you, Shoni, for allowing me to be here. I sure appreciate it, and be grateful. That's my closing message. Be grateful in your life for what you do have. You are a blessed people. We are a blessed people. Thank you, Shoni.
Tony, thank you so much. So grateful for you coming and sharing with us today. And the part that I want to end with is this, that this year is going to be a defining moment for your business and for your life. Like, that's the reality. When we talk about a shift, how many of us look at this and kind of have these emotions bubble up where it's fear initially when we talk about a shifting market? We've heard that consistently. And what I want to tell you is that we have the resources, we have the support to help you thrive through this time. And look at this as an opportunity. And so we have things coming throughout the pipeline over the next couple of months that's going to be massively impactful for your business. But just realize that we have a gift being in this kind of environment, being with these kind of people. And Tony, these thoughts are so impactful. So thank you so much. We do have Adam with Ibex who's coming up. He has brought Olive Garden for lunch today. So we're going to give him a few minutes. Give it up for him for bringing an awesome lunch. Who likes Olive Garden?
Yeah, I was just going to veer off topic a little bit. I've been fortunate enough to do my presentation here probably 5 times in the last 6 months. You guys have probably heard it and stuff, but I just was back there thinking I wanted to do something a little bit different. So I was an agent. You guys, I've told you this before. I Keller Williams for 12 years. I was an agent for 18 years. And I was the guy sitting in the hall or sitting in my office and the sales guy's walking down the hall. And I'm like, oh crap, here he comes. And, hiding behind my couch and telling Christina, shut the door. And here I am now, this guy, right? So it's karma, I guess. I'm eating some apple pie, but I do want to say this though about this office. I had big shoes to fill. Michelle was great. I'm an owner operator of Ibex, and I've just been coming to this office, walking these halls. I was able to go to 7 Peaks and pass out drinks, and it's true. All the Keller Williams, people are nice to me. They come up and say hi, and they check on me, and they say thank you, and they say, can I get more Mountain Dew with caffeine for my kids? And it's just like, it was going crazy with all these kids and caffeine. It's just like, that's all they wanted down there. It was nuts. But everybody was just friendly, and it's hard. You guys are busting your butt too, and we are too. So I just want to say, if there's ever a time that I can share with you about our product, please let me know. I'd love to sit down with you. I believe in our product. I think it's great product. I really want to share it with you, as many people as I can. I eat, sleep, and I wear the same outfit every day. Even if I go on a date with my wife, I'm wearing this around town. I want it. Ibex. I want to share with you. So if you have an opportunity, you see me in the hall, let me explain it to you. So that's enough about that, the mushy stuff. But so I just did 6 questions. I got t-shirts. Will you help me with hands? And I got 3 mediums and a large and 2 extra larges or something like that. But these are just fun questions. So at Ibex, we spend the most amount of money for repairs on what item? Raise a hand though. You have to raise your hand or I'll call on you. What item do we spend the most amount of money on? Nope. No. Nope. Who said it? Water heater. Okay. In what size? We spent $1.1 million last year on water heaters. Is our number 1 expense in the company. Okay. So all of you guys know we named our company after a goat. Here This is an ibex, and we named him, and he has a wife. I'm going to give you 3 names, and Shoni, will you help me? And you have to guess the wife's name, and then you get a t-shirt. Linda, Stephanie, Hoofette. Okay. If we come in and put a water heater in your house, you have to pay a $65 service fee. How much extra do we charge for the drip pans and the expansion tank? They're the same price. Yeah, he got it back there. 0. Yeah. So code upgrades, all that kind of stuff, no additional charge. I had to pay for those when I was an agent. It's like $500 to $800. Okay. This one's really important. Here's the answers. I'll give you the question. 0, 5, and 10. How many pull-ups can I do? Raise your hand. You said 10? 0. You win. 0 is the answer. I can't do it. Okay. How many shirts do you have left? Okay. At Ibex, how many different options of plans do we have to choose from? By raise hand. Nope. 1. Riley. Riley got the 1, Shoni. And I have more shirts in my car if you want one. Okay, last question. If you have your refrigerator, we cover every single thing on and in the refrigerator except what? Yes, who said that? Yeah. Okay, ice makers, water dispensers, every nut, screw, bolt, chain, light bulb, it doesn't matter. It's all covered. So anyway, thanks for your time. I'll set up. Now, I got to be honest with you. I bought more food than I've ever bought before, but this is the most people I've ever seen here before too. So you go take seconds, take a little bit at first and then come back for seconds. So thanks.
Okay. Thank you all. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy the week.